What if I told you, today I got nothing but good and exciting gaming news for everyone, even good Xbox news? Yep. Contrary to popular belief, I don't hate Xbox and I don't hate PC gaming. Everyone has their preferences, and I don't want Xbox to fail. I want Sony to have a healthy competition.
Emotional damage.
The PS Portal, Sony's streaming handheld device, has quickly become the UK's most popular gaming accessory, despite some initial skepticism. When it was first announced, many gamers expressed little interest in it. However, the numbers tell a different story. Throughout July, the PS Portal was the top-selling gaming accessory in the UK, leading the industry in revenue. Interestingly, while the PS Portal is one of the pricier peripherals on the market, it's outpacing other expensive items like the DualSense Edge. This success isn't just limited to the UK. The PS Portal is also performing well in the United States. According to GfK analyst Dorian Block, the PS Portal has consistently ranked as the #1 or 2 best-selling gaming accessory in the UK by revenue since its launch in November 2023, only dropping from the top spot once due to stock issues earlier this year. It looks like Sony's gamble with the PS Portal is paying off, proving that they understand their market better than some might have expected. And speaking of handhelds, it looks like Microsoft is gearing up for something big with its next-generation Xbox plans. There have been ongoing rumors about a new handheld Xbox console, and now it seems like Microsoft might be planning to release this handheld alongside a new home console, which would be the successor to the current Xbox Series. Jez Corden, an industry insider, mentioned on the Xbox 2 podcast that the next-gen Xbox handheld will be a separate device from the new home console. He clarified that Microsoft isn't going all in on handhelds alone. They're planning to have both a handheld and a traditional console. Given the popularity of handheld gaming devices like the Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, and PlayStation Portal, it makes sense for Microsoft to tap into that market. But don't worry, it doesn't look like they're abandoning their traditional console approach. Rumors suggest that the next-gen Xbox consoles, including the handheld, might be released around 2026, though it's unclear if the handheld will come out earlier or if they'll be released together. There's also been some concern about Xbox hardware sales lagging behind PlayStation 5, but despite these challenges, it seems Microsoft is committed to bringing out at least one more generation of Xbox consoles. This generation could be more diverse than ever, potentially including both a traditional console and a handheld device. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with rumors that some Xbox games might even end up on PlayStation or Switch in the future. But for now, it looks like Xbox fans have something to look forward to with the next generation. We also got some updates on the future of Bungie. So, Sony's big boss Hiroki Totoki recently gave some updates on Bungie's restructuring plans. Basically, Sony is looking to streamline Bungie's operations and cut costs. They want to merge some of Bungie's administrative tasks with other Sony studios. Totoki also mentioned that Bungie will focus more on maintaining and developing Destiny 2 and a new live service game called Marathon. They'll be dedicating constant resources to these, while other game projects will get shifted to PlayStation's own studios. This news comes on the heels of Bungie laying off over 200 employees, which is about 17% of their workforce. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons said the layoffs were a tough decision driven by rising development costs and changes in the industry. Despite all this, Bungie's plans for Destiny 2 and its upcoming expansion, codename Frontiers, set for 2025, shouldn't be affected by the restructuring. And speaking of live service, we have some updates on the Stop Killing Our Games initiative. Currently, the petition has reached 261,552 signatures, up from 50,000 since my first video on it. This is great news because there's a one-year limit for this initiative. It seems that gamers are really vocal about this issue. If you don't know much about what I'm talking about, you should definitely check out my previous 2 videos on the matter. Here's some context just in case. An increasing number of video games are sold as products but are designed to be completely unplayable once support ends. The legality of this practice is untested worldwide, and many governments don't have clear laws addressing these actions. Our goal is to have authorities examine this behavior and hopefully end it, as it's an assault on both consumer rights and the preservation of media. We are pursuing this in 2 ways: action on The Crew. The video game The Crew, published by Ubisoft, was recently made unplayable for all players, despite having a player base of at least 12 million people. Due to the game's size and France's strong consumer protection laws, this represents a significant opportunity to hold a publisher accountable. If we succeed in pressing charges against Ubisoft, it could have a ripple effect across the video game industry, potentially preventing publishers from destroying more games. Government petitioning. Official government petitions have been introduced to prohibit the practice of intentionally rendering commercial video games inoperable when support ends. Petitions for the UK, Canada, Australia, and now the entire EU have been opened. Some have since closed, but we're still waiting for responses from governments. The European Citizens Initiative, in particular, will be open for 1 year and could be the most influential of all. Please sign it or tell others about it if you can. In a surprising move, Krafton, the publisher behind PUBG, has acquired Tango Gameworks and the Hi-Fi Rush IP from Xbox. This acquisition means that Tango Gameworks, which was previously set to be shut down by Microsoft, will now continue to operate under Krafton's umbrella. Krafton has expressed a commitment to maintaining the smooth transition of Tango Gameworks and ensuring the talented team behind Hi-Fi Rush can continue developing the IP and explore future projects. The press release also emphasized that this acquisition will not affect the existing game catalog, including titles like The Evil Within, The Evil Within 2, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Earlier this year, Microsoft announced the closure of several Bethesda studios, including Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, despite the success of Hi-Fi Rush, which had been a breakout hit for Xbox. This decision was met with widespread disappointment among fans and developers alike. However, thanks to Krafton's acquisition, Tango Gameworks will now have the opportunity to continue creating innovative and exciting experiences for their fans. This move highlights the unpredictability of the gaming industry, where even successful studios can face closure, but also the potential for new beginnings under different leadership. This is some seriously exciting news for fans of Santa Monica Studio. The developers behind God of War Ragnarok are working on something brand new, and it's not tied to the God of War series. This was pretty much confirmed through the LinkedIn profile of Glauco Longhi, who returned to Santa Monica Studio in 2024 as the character supervisor on a brand new IP. The idea of Santa Monica Studio branching out from the God of War franchise is huge. Since 2005, they've been all about Kratos and his mythological adventures, so the fact that they're shifting gears to create something entirely different is a big deal. There have been whispers that this new project might be in the sci-fi genre, which would be a drastic change from the epic mythological settings they're known for. While we don't know many details yet, the fact that the studio is exploring new territory is thrilling. Of course, this doesn't mean the end of God of War. The franchise is too big to just disappear, so we can likely expect more from Kratos in the future. But for now, all eyes are on what Santa Monica Studio will bring to the table with this mysterious new IP. Capcom's Devil May Cry 5 continues to impress with its sales performance, hitting a new milestone of 8.4 million units sold worldwide as of June 30, 2024. The game, which originally launched over 5 years ago, added an extra 300,000 units in sales during the April to June quarter of this year. This steady success is a testament to the game's lasting appeal. Devil May Cry 5 has been widely praised for its high-octane action, stylish combat, and memorable characters. In fact, when it first released, it garnered rave reviews, with many praising it as a return to form for the series. In a review, the game was described as like a fine meal. It deserves to be savored, and if you do, you'll likely want to re-experience it. So Black Myth, Wukong is launching on August 20th for Steam and the PS5 Xbox Series consoles. Game Science just dropped a benchmark tool to give us a sneak peek at how it'll run on different setups. Just keep in mind that this is a scripted benchmark, so real in-game performance might vary a bit. If you're aiming for 4K, you'll need some serious gear. A GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super or Radeon RX 7900 XTX is the bare minimum. With a GeForce RTX 4090, you're looking at around 45 FPS without ray tracing. Enable frame generation, and it can go up to 74.5 FPS, though it might drop to 62.5 FPS during tougher spots. Turn on ray tracing and your FPS will drop to around 40. With DLSS quality mode, you can boost it to about 67 FPS. You might need to adjust the internal resolution slider to get a steady 60 FPS, especially if you're using a 120 or 144 Hz monitor. If you're on a GeForce RTX 4070 Ti, you might need to lower ray tracing settings to medium if things get choppy. Dropping from very high to medium can improve frame rates by around 32%. At 1440p, you'll need at least a GeForce RTX 4060 Ti. Without ray tracing, use DLSS FSR in balanced or performance modes to get close to 60 FPS. With frame generation alone, the RTX 4070 averages around 53 FPS. With ray tracing on very high, the RTX 4070 will drop to 34 FPS. For smoother gameplay, use DLSS DLSS FSR frame generation and set the resolution slider to 55 to 60%. At 4K, these settings give you about 47.5 FPS, and at 1080p, you can get over 80 FPS. Even at 1080p, it's a tough game. The GeForce RTX 4060 barely hits 28 FPS at 1080p cinematic without ray tracing. With frame generation, it bumps up to 46 FPS, but to hit 60 FPS, you'll need to do some upscaling with the internal resolution slider set to 80 to 90%. So yeah, Black Myth. Wukong is pushing the limits of current hardware, especially with ray tracing turned on. You'll probably need to tweak your settings based on your GPU to balance performance and visuals. According to recent rumors, Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to launch on the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2, along with ports of previous entries like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The latest installment in the series is expected to be available within the console's launch window of about 6 months, with other titles following gradually. Notably, Odyssey and Origins will be bundled together, likely due to their age. The rumor comes from Nash Weedle, a source known for Nintendo-related leaks, and has been partially corroborated by Universo Nintendo's editor-in-chief, Necro Felipe, who confirmed the possibility of Assassin's Creed Shadows being ported to the new console. While details about the Nintendo Switch 2 are still scarce, it's rumored to have performance capabilities close to that of the Steam Deck. As more information becomes available, fans can expect updates on both the console and its game lineup. So the lead producer of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Carl One, mentioned in an interview that they believe 4 years of development is the sweet spot for making a new Assassin's Creed game. By the time Shadows is released in November 2024, it will have been in the works for 4 years, which is longer than any other game in the series, including Valhalla. One thinks that having 4 years gives the team enough time to not only create the game, but also get feedback and make meaningful changes based on that feedback. He pointed out that while you can rush a game by putting more people on it, you can't speed up the process of getting feedback and making improvements. So, 4 years strikes the right balance between creating, testing, and refining the game. Assassin's Creed Shadows is set in 16th century Japan and has already sparked some controversy online, especially because one of its main characters—
"This is for everyone you've killed! England, murderer!"
Hold your fire! This man isn't black!
This led to some backlash, with critics like Elon Musk chiming in. In response, Ubisoft released a statement reminding everyone that the Assassin's Creed series is inspired by history, but isn't meant to be a perfect historical account. They want players to be curious about history and learn more on their own. So Star Wars Jedi Survivor is now available for pre-order on the Xbox One and PS4, launching on September 17th. It's priced at $49.99, but only the standard edition is on offer. No deluxe version for these old consoles, that's only for the newer ones and PCs. Here's where it gets a bit worrying. Despite generally positive reviews, the game has been hit with some serious performance issues, especially on PC. The Xbox and PS5 versions have seen improvements, but the PC version is still plagued with problems. Now, this doesn't automatically mean the last-gen versions will be a disaster, but it's not exactly reassuring. If you're thinking of picking it up for your Xbox One or PS4, it might be wise to temper your expectations. Fans of Jedi Fallen Order might get some nostalgia out of it, but given the issues the game has faced, there's no guarantee the sequel will run smoothly. Even if it's enjoyable, it might not be the seamless experience you're hoping for.
Emotional damage!
Everyone's buzzing about Marvel Rivals, and it's easy to see why. It's being compared to other hero shooters like Overwatch. And yes, you can spot some similarities, especially with certain character abilities. But don't mistake this for just another copycat game. One of the standout features of Marvel Rivals is its third-person perspective. Instead of the first-person view that many other shooters use, this game lets you see your hero or villain from behind, giving you a fuller sense of their power and presence. It's a small shift, but one that can make a big difference in how immersive the experience feels. The game's team-up abilities are another big selling point. These aren't just about flashy effects, they're designed to change how you approach the game. For instance, Groot and Rocket Raccoon's Planet X Pal's ability is more than just a cute nod to their comic partnership. It actually impacts gameplay by reducing damage intake and speeding up healing. This kind of synergy brings a new strategic layer to team compositions. And it's not just about pairing up fan-favorite characters. The potential for these team-up abilities to influence the game's meta is huge. As new characters are introduced, their team-up moves could drastically alter the effectiveness of existing heroes. Take Black Panther, who's currently considered weaker in the game. A new hero with a powerful team-up ability could make Black Panther a lot more viable and change how players choose their teams. The game's approach to team dynamics and character abilities could lead to some serious shifts in how matches play out. Wow, check out these videos.